Comfort. And today, I'm going to talk about whitewater kayaking. Specifically, I'm going to explain how learning to master whitewater kayaking is like learning to master social work. Because learning to kayak touches on some of the most meaningful lessons I and our graduating class have learned as new social workers. One of the first things I learned in kayaking was to put on my helmet and life jacket. These are pretty basic first steps, but they are essential, and there are specific strategies for how to do them well. The life jacket has all sorts of straps and brackets that I have to fasten and tighten properly. Such simple lessons are equally essential in social work. We may not wear life jackets when we meet with our clients, but we have learned how important it is to show up on time, to dress appropriately, and to be fully present with our clients. We know the first step in building rapport is to be there when we say we will be there. Very basic and very critical. Another thing I learned as I started to kayak was about this whole other language, the language of kayaking. Kayaking includes terms like boofing, surfing, edging, portaging, carping, bracing. You get the idea. There are tons of them. It takes time to understand their meaning, remember what they are, and how to apply them in context, so that when someone says, you gotta boof that rock to miss the hole, or else you're gonna swim into the undercut, you know exactly what to do. Social work also has its own language that we have learned. Terms found in our beloved transcultural perspective: privilege, power, oppression, cultural competence, and other verbs including aligning, assessing, and advocating. Some of these terms we may have heard initially and thought, yeah, I know that word. What's the big deal? But the true meaning of these ideas comes through deep analysis and experience as new social workers, to the point where we begin to enact these terms. We see and feel the oppression our clients face. We also enjoy the strength of building alliances with them to support their needs. In this way, we begin to more fluently access and embody the language of social work. As I straddle these contrasting worlds of social work and kayaking, experiences present themselves where it dawns on me that I can't yet do everything that I want to do. When this happens, I am humbled. And sometimes I'm disgruntled or frustrated. The times when I have cried as I learned to kayak and to be a social worker were when I felt like a failure, when I felt like I couldn't do it, like I was not good enough. I want to be the best new kayaker on the river, and I want to be the social worker that all my clients remember and think back on saying, yeah, Carly was really there for me when I needed someone. That's the next lesson I had to learn, that I cannot always be the social worker superhero. We are human, and we all have the opportunity to be humbled. Whether humbled by forces of nature, or touched by the compassion of another person, or the strength of a single mother supporting 4 children, we make mistakes. If we misspeak or say something awkward, we must persevere. Keep building rapport, being present and compassionate. Social work has taught me a deeper kind of compassion for others, as well as for myself. In a similar way, kayaking has taught me to be kind to myself. It's easy to be critical when I don't properly exit an eddy by leaning forward and edging my boat, but nature doesn't care what I'm trying to do. The river keeps flowing through the gorge, and so I have to roll back up and keep paddling. I have to dig deep and muster up the courage to take risks, and that gives me the opportunity to learn and to do better next time. Social work and kayaking require you to do that, to put it all out on the line, make mistakes, and learn from those mistakes. This type of learning can be uncomfortable, especially for someone who wants to get it right the first time, every time. That's why it's so important and so difficult to learn how to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. There are conversations with clients that are more challenging than a Class 5 river with mandatory boofs and 20-foot waterfall drops. And take my word for it, those are hard. What do you say to a mom whose baby just died? How do you console a young man whose parents just disowned him for his sexual orientation? You sit in the muck. You let them know you care, and that you're not going anywhere, even when it's uncomfortable. Nature presses the uncomfortable onto me too, as I paddle swift Class 4 water with strong eddy lines and no options to portage. And yet I sit in the cockpit, wearing my NASA-designed dry suit, staying present and calm, taking it one drop at a time. I don't flee just because I'm terrified that the wave may recirculate me, holding me and my boat under. Instead, I face it with my bow heading downriver and my paddle at the ready, because that's why I'm there, and that's who I am. Please vote for me to hear the spectacular conclusion of the Whitewater Kayaking Social Worker.